simple, very, I think that's the secret, is that it's so simple. It's not as complicated as people make it out to be. Well, I guess if you're using fresh ingredients.
Yeah.
You always use fresh ingredients, and that makes the world a difference. A lot of people use canned diced tomatoes, and that is just not the same. It is not. Doesn't have the same flavor. Here I'll be using a blender, but over at the food trailer I just use a food processor, only because more fits in it. It does the same thing, but more fits in it. And I would have to say to about 6 tomatoes, I would use an onion this size. This is, I would call this a medium onion, because I've seen them a lot bigger and smaller. And I usually blend the onions and the peppers a lot more than the tomatoes. That way you don't get it so mushy. It's not so liquidy. But I'll take off the ends of the onions and I'll peel it and throw it in the blender. Okay. The only liquid I add to it, it gets pretty watery, but it's from the tomatoes, and the only liquid I add to it is the lime juice. Are you going to be using lime? No? I do add lime juice to it. The only secret to keeping your guacamole from getting brown is to keep the, what do you call that little ball? The pit.
Inside.
If you keep the pit in the bowl where you've got your guacamole,
Really?
it won't turn brown.
You're kidding.
To a bowl this size, I would put 3 pits. Okay, so the onions and the peppers should be pretty ground up. There's the heat. And then cilantro gives it a lot of flavor. The cilantro gives it a lot of flavor. But we'll put that in later.
Oh, that's easier than I've been doing.
I know.
I've been peeling all the leaves off and cutting.
Have you?
Yes, it's very annoying.
The stem is very flavorful.
You would be there for a long time.
I was! Why do you think we only have salsa once a month?
Another thing, when you're in the grocery store looking at them, if they're fresh and firm and new like this, they'll be spicy.
Okay.
If they're old and kind of wrinkly,
Yeah.
they're not very spicy anymore. Okay, so now we've got chili, onion, cilantro. Now I'll just add a little bit of salt. And the tomatoes. And the tomatoes we won't mash up as much. And you'll have your salsa. If I made my salsa too hot too, another way to tone it down is to add a can of tomato sauce.
Oh.
Want some?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Need a straw.
Just kidding.
Okay, I'm ready.
Mm-hmm.